Hello and welcome everybody to the front nine coverage of the first round of the CCR Open, presented by Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here by Chandler Fry on the microphone. We're going to bring you some commentary on this round. Chandler, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to watch some good golf today.
Absolutely. We have the Renegades Trail disc golf course that they're playing today. A lot of interesting placement golf. We have four-time world champion Paul McBeth.
Coming off a big win last weekend.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
We also have myself trying to do a Jack Nicholson impression. Not too good, but...
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Garrett Gurthie trying to spin a disc on his finger.
Yep. He is a fun player to watch.
And it's actually going to be a battle of the righties versus the lefties. We have Reid Frescura on the card.
Doing his best Charlie Brown impression with the mustard yellow shirt and the black pants.
It's going to be a lot of differing play styles here on this course and a lot of interesting shot shapes. Hole 1 is 400 feet, but the shot shape to get to the pin is very, very specific. It is a hard dog leg to the left. A hyzer with a standard overstable disc is not going to penetrate left enough to get to the pin, so players, especially Paul and Garrett, are going to have to throw something a little bit more understable to get it to penetrate to the basket, and lefties are going to try some sort of hard turnover.
It's a tough angle to hit, especially for a lefty. I'm excited to see what you guys do on this hole. Garrett going with a high hyzer. Let's see how far it gets.
Not quite sure where that landed, but really going high and letting the disc, especially penetrate left, and I think we did have a right to left to win on this hole.
Yeah. What's Paul throwing there?
That is a red force. As you can see, it was popping up a little bit more, like I was saying, a medium
that's a
stability
great
disc.
shot.
Yes, exactly. That was a fantastic hyzer.
Should have a circle's edge putt, I believe. Ooh, what are you throwing here? ESP XL?
This is an XL.
Ooh.
And you have to get it really high, but that's got to flatten.
Oh, man. How'd you feel about that shot?
It's very close, and again, a very tough green to access, especially when it's kind of going uphill there.
Yeah.
Kind of hit and cut rolled a little bit.
Reid going a similar shot as you.
He is throwing a Buzz SS.
That's looking okay.
It's panning. I just don't think he got it thrown
Okay.
hard enough to get over left like that. He'll have a
40 footer?
40
Yeah.
40 footer for birdie.
He has a pretty good jump putt, so I wouldn't be surprised if he connects on that. Okay.
It's kind of a safe layup there.
Yeah.
Just wanted to start the round out with a par. Reid with about a 40-foot uphill putt.
Ooh, solid bid. Just a little off the right.
And Reid
chains.
definitely one of the best Circle 2 putters that I've played with. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely fun to watch him.
Definitely expect Paul to make this, and he does. Great putt.
Absolutely. Nice and smooth. And that's a tough birdie. That hyzer angle is very specific, so for him to hit that is a good way to start the round.
Absolutely. It's a tough hole to start on. Come on, Garrett. Beautiful putt from Garrett.
And that is a great way to start out this round. A couple birdies, a couple pars.
Two great drives from Garrett and Paul.
Absolutely.
There you go. Tapping in your three. Three is not a bad score on this hole at all.
No, especially for a lefty.
Exactly, yeah. There we go.
And that's the thing. They started the course off with a hole that can be played so many different ways, and I really like the shot shape on that par 3. What do we have for hole number 2?
You want to penetrate through the first scab. You want to get over that concrete structure they've built up there, and you want to finish as far right as possible so you can have a clean shot down the alley to this basket.
You'll see a lot of righties throwing a power turnover, just trying to get as close to the mouth as possible. It's not that long of a par 4, but again, the name of the game on this course is placement. As generous as these fairways are, you still have to pick a very specific spot.
If you go too straight to the left, you do have a sidearm and hyzer angle at the basket from behind.
Absolutely. And Garrett's stalling out a little bit.
I'm guessing he's going to go huge spike hyzer from there, over the trees.
More than likely, because now he has to challenge the tree line on that shot.
Yeah.
Definitely wanted to get a little bit more over to the right.
Paul's throwing a Zeus here. ESP Zeus. Ooh, that's looking tasty.
And that is good. It looks like it's going too far to the right, but it's actually going to pan out really nicely.
That's a pretty stable Zeus.
He's getting that thing to drift left to
my
right.
gosh.
Very smooth.
What are you throwing here?
I'm actually throwing a Comet.
Okay.
Yanked it a little bit. I did get a little fortunate.
Nice.
I wanted to push it as far as I could forward and then give myself some sort of flick to the basket.
It's important to prioritize getting through the gap because if you don't, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a 4 or a 5.
And Reid going a little bit more aggressive and just sawing it off a little bit.
Did he make it through? Yeah, he got through.
Did get through. So
that's fortunate.
A couple of fortunate kicks for the lefties.
Absolutely. All right.
Reid, I believe, going with a Nuke OS.
Does he have the angle? Oh, a little short. A little short. He wants to put that a little wider.
He might have some sort of a look from in there. I think this is Z Machete. And I just flattened that out a little bit too much, but
yeah,
not a problem.
Oh,
Early,
it didn't penetrate too much.
No, definitely still have a putt from there.
Okay.
It's a very tight window. And that's why you want to get as far right as possible to make that window bigger.
What's Garrett? Oh, my gosh.
Garrett is creating his own window. It goes a little bit deep in the basket, but
he still have a
has
putt?
somewhat of a look,
Okay.
I believe.
That's an impressive shot over those trees.
Oh, yeah.
Paul's jump putting.
And that's the reason the righties should, if you have that powered, drift left to right shot, that's absolutely what you should be throwing off the tee if you have the confidence in that shot.
Oh man, come on, Brian. Oh, he feels good.
And I thought that was going in.
Just didn't have the height.
Still, not too worried about it. Still, definitely a tough par 4 to birdie.
He's in a tough spot. Ooh, great shot.
And that's the thing to note about this course too. This rough is really brutal. A lot of poison oak, stinging nettles, thorns. So if you are off the fairway, as much as it's not roped off OB, it is annoying to get in there, annoying to find your disc, and very treacherous.
It seems the second you step into the rough, there's just 200 mosquitoes on you.
Yeah. That's the other thing to note out here. It's about 90 degrees, 85% humidity, and mosquitoes everywhere. Yeah.
And bug spray doesn't seem to work.
No.
With this hole, you want to throw as far as you can off the tee. There's not much danger on the fairway unless you get right behind one of those smaller trees out there. We're going to see the guys probably throwing stable discs on a little turn and trying to penetrate as far as possible.
And that's the thing. These fairways are generous, but again, this is another hole that you want to push right and you want to drift your disc left to right.
Yeah.
As much as you're potentially landing in the fairway, if you're too far left, you have a lot of these tiny trees that you have to maneuver through on your second shot. So Paul's going to try to push this one over to the right.
That's looking pretty good. It's
Definitely.
listed as a par 5.
Listed as a par 5, but I think it's scoring more as a par 4.
Absolutely. We're going to see probably a couple eagles. I'm
Absolutely.
guessing. Garrett's throwing a destroyer, it looks like. Oh, he gets on this. Oh, get right. That's looking great.
Didn't quite get the turn. I could see that he wanted on it, but it's still, like we said, the fairways are definitely generous.
Did you see the spin on that disc?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Definitely generates probably more revs on the disc than almost any player.
And here you are throwing a TI nuke, it looks like.
I thought this one was going to be way over that tree and just clip the top of it. But again, still in position to get up and down.
Yeah.
For a potential eagle, I suppose you could call it.
What's Reid throwing here?
Reid going with TI nuke as well, I believe.
Okay, cool. Is that a lefty thing?
I think it's a lefty thing. And he just skies this one. I think he's trying to flex it.
Yeah.
Threw it a little bit nose up.
Trying to go for that tower shot. But he's still in a scoring position.
Exactly. And as a lefty, especially, being more right is better. This is the new Discraft Onyx that I'm trying to throw up there.
Such a pretty flight. That's great. That was a fantastic shot. You should have a circle's edge putt, maybe a little jumper, stepper.
Absolutely. And then we have Reid coming here. And this is the better spot to be for a lefty. You can throw a pure hyzer at the basket. And it looks good, but...
Is it a little too far?
Potentially, yep.
Oh.
And this is the rough where, if we don't have a spotter up there, it's actually pretty dangerous in regards to not finding your disc.
Yeah, it's definitely
Super
a
thick back
possibility.
there.
Paul's going Big Z Luna at the basket.
After an
He's got some
absolute
good turn on it.
smash off the tee.
And that is perfect. Right in the little depression in the ground, right by the basket. Should be
He's
a tap
getting
and
that thing to
eagle.
land so softly.
What's Garrett doing here?
Garrett is choosing a Sonic.
That is such a touchy shot, and he does it so well. That's, oh my gosh.
That is not a shot most players on tour have. That is a catch frisbee that he's throwing pretty much.
Yep. Wow. All right, Brian.
From about 35, 40.
Let's see you convert this. Oh.
Almost. Didn't quite get the pop on it.
Does Reid have a putt? It looks like he had a putt.
He almost did.
Yeah, he caught some branches on the way out, but good-looking attempt there.
Garrett from about 25.
There we go.
As you can see, they call that an eagle, but with Garrett throwing a catch frisbee, a sonic on his second shot, it really scores as a par 4.
Absolutely. So I believe we have 2 eagles.
2 eagles and 2 birdies from what the course is calling par.
And we have our first star frame of the round.
A very nice star frame at that. Moving into the next hole, hole number 4. This is a 408-foot hole. It is a par 3. Righties actually are able to throw a nice drifting left-to-right shot with either a mid-range or a fairway driver. Lefties have the luxury of throwing a spike hyzer here. And with the green sloping right to left, it's really easy and safe to crash that spike hyzer in the green. Paul's going with the buzz.
He's going to turn this over a little bit and hope it flattens out right towards the basket. Get through those branches. Ooh.
And he just kind of yanked it a little bit off the tee. And you could hear him saying after he threw that, he goes, I love this shot shape. I love this hole. I think he really wanted that one back.
Absolutely. He might still have a jump putt at it. Garrett throwing a roller. Let's go.
And this is one of those rollers you have to lay down pretty quick. And he didn't quite get it up vertical enough.
Yeah. But once again, he still has a putt. Yeah. We have Brian throwing a...
This is a really overstable force. And this is the luxury that the lefty has on this hole.
Absolutely. Boom. Beautiful placement.
I'll put it to about 25.
Nice. Good looking shot there. Reid probably going the same shot with a nuke. Or
anytime Reid gets to throw a hyzer, he will absolutely throw it. He smashes these.
He is a great hyzer thrower. Let's go.
Ooh, and he hit a weird patch of dirt there and did not get any ground play, but he's from about 30 feet.
Paul going with big jumper. He's tracking. Yeah, he wants a 2 on this hole, but, I mean, he'll accept it. A tap in 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Going Sonic from the trees.
And it's crazy, I hadn't played with Garrett in over a year, and it's actually pretty interesting how much he actually throws that Sonic.
Oh, just a little low for Reid.
Didn't quite pop it enough.
He is not happy with that.
Hit the bin.
Nice birdie. Pretty easy lefty hole, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. No, it was definitely a must get, for sure. And after 3 pars and a birdie, we're going to move into hole number 5. What kind of shape do we have here?
We're going to see a lot of big hyzers, just pure hyzers from the right-hand, backhand players. And then for the lefties, we're going to see probably some turnover fairway drivers. And hopefully, it's a tough shot for a lefty.
There's a big hyzer play for a power lefty, or, a very, very long tracking right to left turnover.
Yeah.
Or if you have an enormous sidearm, you're able to do that as well.
If you're right-handed, this is the hole you want to get. Ooh.
I tried going big turnover, and I just didn't quite push it out far enough right. The shape was good, but I just didn't swing it wide enough, and I'll have to scramble from there.
As I said, it's a tough shot for a lefty.
Oh, yeah.
Paul going big hyzer. Boom. Looks like that might be a little short.
And he crashed into those pines, and he's going to have kind of an obstructed lie for that putt, but he's still about 28 feet from the basket.
Garrett's probably throwing a Firebird or something.
No, it looks like I think he's throwing either an Excalibur or a Destroyer still.
Okay. Same spot as Paul. They should both have putts, but might be kind of tough. Might be getting on their knees.
Yeah, that tall grass still makes any putt, especially if you're having to putt low, it's definitely annoying. And Reid is going for the power hyzer here.
Boom.
And it didn't look like he got enough on it. Oh, damn. And he's stuck behind those trees. I was eyeing that from the tee, and it is a massive hyzer.
Oof. That's a tough gap to try to hit, but he should have a putt.
And I'm having to go big, flick, panning turnover.
With, what is that?
And that is a beat-up putter. That is a Banger GT.
Banger GT.
I was actually telling myself to run the basket just because if I missed it, I'd be right next to it, but went a little bit long.
In the circle, he should have a putt for par.
38-footer here for Paul.
Under the tree and into the basket.
That is fantastic.
That's such a hard
Low
shot to
ceiling
execute.
and also a higher ground with that tall grass that he had to putt through, too. That is a phenomenal putt.
Oof. Look at that extension on that putt.
Super
Beautiful.
committed.
Yeah, he likes that one.
When he starts making putts like that, it starts getting scary.
Absolutely.
Reid from about the same distance.
Great putt.
He's able to capitalize as well.
We should mention that Paul is now 5 down for 5 holes. So
And it was
he
so
is feeling
quiet.
good.
It was so low-key when he was doing it. I had no idea.
Oh, just a little right for Garrett.
Tough miss. I'm about 30 feet from the basket.
Great looking stroke there. Good shot.
It always feels good to get up and down from a tough spot like that. Gives you a little bit of confidence and momentum going into the next hole.
I should mention it's 85 degrees, and Brian's wearing pants.
I strategically wore the pants to protect myself from the stinging nettles and the thorns and everything that the tall grass has. It's pretty brutal out there if you're off the fairway. We move into a par 5. So this one is over 1,000 feet. It's 1,025 feet, and this is all placement golf. You want to hang that left side as far as possible. The more right you go in this hole, you have to start worrying about trees and kind of getting sneaky through those. So you'll see a lot of shots going way left off the tee.
We're probably going to see a lot of big, booming tower shots to the left like Paul's doing here. He wants to throw that out left, have it fade out right, and not finish too far right.
And he went with a Zeus again, and that thing is, man, he's throwing that thing so competently. It's incredible. He's getting it to track way right, but still pan out at the end, and that's way down there.
What are you doing here?
I'm trying to actually do a mirror image of what Paul did, but as a lefty. So I think if I just hit this ante, it's going to go right where I want it.
Put some turn on it and have it fade back.
And I did not get on it whatsoever.
That needs to come down.
But here's the interesting thing about this hole. I'm not out of bounds.
Yeah.
You know, most tour courses that we're playing, that would be out of bounds. So it felt weird to not be punished there. But still, I'm punished by the positioning and how bad the footing is out there.
And this is probably the truest par 5 on the course, I'd
Absolutely.
say. It's averaging just below par at 4.75. So we're seeing a lot of birdies and a lot of pars on this one.
Yes.
Garrett going to the left side for a big old Garrett shot. Boom.
And that's a destroyer, and that is mashed.
God, it's just fun to watch him play.
And it looks like he's throwing it really soft, and
Ooh.
that kind of a rough lie after that
hopefully
drive.
he's not too close to that tree.
Reid going with T.I. Duke, and he is going, this is a line I didn't even know existed.
Boom.
There's a big lefty hyzer line, and that's going to put him right where he wants to be.
It's a good placement shot.
Absolutely. And on this hole, the first shot, again, you want to be far left so you can throw this shot next.
Yeah, Reid sacrificed distance for placement on that first shot. Let's see what he does here. He's trying to flip that nuke over.
He was. He was trying to go max distance and, again, skied it a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's not in trouble over there. And if you
No.
go super far to the right in this hole as well, you have an open gap to the basket. It's really more being in the middle of the fairway that's challenging. And here I am,
Brian
from
in the
jail.
jungle. You're just playing for position on this one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this little sand bunker in the middle of the fairway is out of bounds, so you're having to chance that as well.
Yeah. For most pro players, it doesn't really come into play because
No.
we just throw over it. But if you get off the fairway, it's definitely there.
Paul going with his red force, and he stalled this one out. I saw him slip a little bit on the tee pad.
That's going to be a tough shot because that is a thick forest right there.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull out some magic.
Garrett is pretty close to this tree. Okay. A little half swing with the arm.
And his
But
half
still gets
swing
good
is most
distance.
people's full swing, and that is right on the edge. That should be no problem.
That's fine. That's an easy birdie from there.
That
But
is
it's
such a
sonic
scary
throw.
shot from the fairway. The risk of slapping your hand in the tree is terrifying.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I mean, I was in a decent spot in the fairway, but I still wasn't left enough, and I was stuck behind one of those little pines, so I was having to throw some sort of flex forehand instead of a straight backhand like Reid's going to have here.
Let's see. Oh, my gosh.
And I
That's
think this
looking
was a
good.
zone that he threw,
Get under that tree. That's still
and
great.
that's a fantastic standstill approach shot. That should be textbook for Reid.
And the basket is placed in a little depression in the ground, so players are having to putt a little lower than they used to. So we might see a couple misses. Hopefully not, but it makes you think.
Garrett going sonic again from the fringe.
Ooh, Paul is
And
deep.
Paul is not in a good spot, but he does have an opening.
And in typical Paul fashion, he is parked.
And he gets his world champ love, a little bit of roll to the basket.
He's got that P. McBeth zone.
Yep.
Another jumper for Brian.
And that was skied a little bit. That brought into play the depression in the ground that you had mentioned.
That's the mistake.
Yeah, it's a slight downhill putt.
Garrett with a good birdie.
Another great birdie from Garrett.
Yeah, little tester putt.
And as much as I was hoping to save the birdie here from where I was at, I'm okay taking a par.
I think majority of the field took a par on this hole, I'm guessing. Great birdie from Reid.
I just couldn't see where that's why I had to come out twice and judge off those trees.
What's Paul talking about?
There
we go.
Another birdie from Paul. And we are going to move into the next hole here. And I actually really like this hole. This is another one of those par 5s that is going to probably score as a par 4.5.
Yeah.
It's kind of in between, but it's definitely threeable. And you have to put a distance drive out there. And it's not straight as far as you can. You actually have to drift it to kind of this pocket in the fairway on the right side. So you're going to see a few different ways to get the disc there.
And once again, there's not a lot of trouble to get off the tee. But there are so many little trees that you can find yourself in or around or too close to that can completely ruin your second shot.
And you know, Paul looks like he's drifting us way too far to the right, but this is exactly where he wanted to be. Super unlucky hitting that late tree. But that right side of the fairway is right where you want to be because now you'll have a lot closer look at the pin.
Garrett going destroyer off the tee. He's going a little right. Hopefully it comes back.
And this is that pro decision making coming into play here. The hole is tempting you to throw straight as far as you can. But when you do that, you're going to be stuck in the middle of those little trees. So the pro move is to dissect the fairway and figure out where you want to be. Reid doing the same exact thing.
Is that the nuke again, or is that a
That is another nuke. Wow. Reid is a huge fan of the nuke, and he throws quite a bit of them in different plastics.
That's a fine shot right there. What are you throwing here?
I'm throwing that TI nuke again, and I actually got tricked by the fairway.
How so?
I had thought this was a perfect shot, and I think it's just inexperience on the course. But now I'm in this spot in the fairway where there's tons of little trees, and I had to get creative on mine. So Reid, throwing the hyzer, gets a perfect spot to the green.
Looking like a rock climber with all that chalk on his pants.
Yep.
If that gets through the trees, that's looking good. That's fine, man.
And a 3 on this hole is fantastic. There were not that many 3s, and he's got about a 70-footer at the basket.
Going sidearm TI nuke.
Yep, I got a little aggressive.
That's looking good.
I was trying to save that 3 opportunity from where I was in the fairway.
That's fine. That's a great second
Totally
shot.
okay with that.
You got a nice little lefty jumper at it.
Yep.
Paul's kind of pinched by this tree, but I don't think it's going to affect him that much.
He's throwing a sparkle vulture, and as you can see, he's so good at drifting it left to right.
He was throwing this so well today.
And he'll have another circle 2 putt at the basket.
You're not going to see many circle 1 putts for eagle on this hole because the gap is so hard to get into.
Yeah, and the basket is pushed way back, except if you're Garrett Gurthie and you're going huge hyzer.
Wow. I didn't even, what? Ooh. Not entirely sure where he is, but he's probably within 50 feet, I'm guessing.
He definitely is, and he dropped to a decent spot in the fairway.
Oh,
and I wanted that 3 pretty bad.
So close. Pretty easy birdie for you, though. That's going to feel good. Here we go.
Reid from about 42 feet.
Oh!
That is a NoMez in every sense of the word. Oh, my
right
gosh.
Off the pole. Man, that's rough.
After working so hard to get that, Reid is not happy. Shades are coming down.
Man, that's unfortunate.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of hard for Paul to put this after seeing Reid spit out. Oh.
Almost had enough on it.
Yeah.
And then Garrett actually found himself in a great spot and capitalized.
What a great eagle.
That's a huge hyzer. That is not attainable by an enormous majority of players.
I guarantee he's the only one who played that hole that way.
Yeah, it was extremely impressive. And I'm razzing him a little bit. That was absurd.
So do we have 1 eagle and 3 birdies? Is that correct?
Yes, and that's where I kind of mentioned this whole plays is like a 4.5.
Yeah.
The 3 definitely feels like an eagle, but if you get a 4, it feels very much like a par.
And we have our second star frame of the round.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I believe all proceeds are going to Eagles, Wings, Disc
Oh
Golf.
yeah, cha-ching.
There we go.
Fantastic.
They got $50 so far.
Hole number 8. What are the different plays here?
We got the lefty. The lefty Anheuser, you got the righty backhand, and I saw a lot of right-handed players throwing the sidearm, this flex sidearm with like a zone or a mid-range.
There's that middle tree in the middle of the fairway. It's really the only one you have to miss. You hit this initial gap.
We got Garrett throwing a rock 3, I believe. A little jump throw. That is,
And he was so close to making that gap. There
So-
was those late trees on the right side.
There's a bit of luck involved in this hole.
Definitely. Paul going Jawbreaker Wasp.
That's mine.
And there's no luck if you pure it like that. That's about exactly what the hole's drawn up to be.
It should be noted there's a marsh to the left, so if you kick a tree and kick left, there's a good chance you're going to be swimming. A nice follow flight.
And as you can see, he got it to pop up the tiniest bit, which helps shape that shot through the fairway. Instead of crashing way out to the right, he was able to push forward as he was moving left.
And that should put him 8 for 8.
And after Paul pures the gap, Reid unfortunately kicks an early tree, and he's not going to be happy from there.
Yeah, he might be a little upset over that last putt. Ooh,
I
big
had a
skip.
kind of a wacky flare off that, but again, I threw an overstable disc, whereas Paul threw something a little straighter and was able to land the disc a little bit better.
Reid's in a tough spot.
He's going Giant Annie, and that's a super aggressive play. And he crashes that into the OB Creek.
But that's the risk you take, taking shots like
Absolutely.
that. Man, so he should have a tough
It's just tough.
For bogey,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's a hole like this. It's so short that you really don't want to take a bogey on it. So,
No.
even if you hit an early tree, you're really wanting to be the hero and save that par.
The bogey on this feels terrible.
Yeah.
Reid for the bogey. Oh my gosh.
A little bit of a rough stretch for him. That was about an inch away from making it into the chains. And as you can see, it kind of spit through. And that is just tough after a beautiful jump putt on the last hole, spitting out dead center. He's not having a good stretch here.
2 NoMez's on back-to-back holes. Oh no.
And that was definite. I did not like that one. That was definitely a scared putt for sure.
Yeah. You can see you back there shaking your head. Good birdie from Garrett.
And it's one of those things you're watching two players, Garrett and Paul, playing nearly flawless.
Yeah.
Any mistake you make feels awful.
Yep.
Even though you might be playing a great round, if you have players in your card that are shredding it, it definitely changes the way you view your performance.
Absolutely. It's a tap-in par for Brian. Brian, you're not going to be too happy with that, but knowing you're going to move on and attack the next hole like a champ.
And there's so many birdies out here, and we're going to have our leaderboard check-in. Actually, a lot of people at the 5, 6, 7 range.
Yeah.
And then Paul is playing pretty much a flawless round at 8
Absolutely.
down.
You got Bart Koleski. Is that how you say his last name?
I believe so. But yeah, a lot of people kind of staying in the same range. As we move into hole number 9, this is a par 4 that is not as long as the previous ones. This is all about placement off the tee.
Absolutely. You have 2 plays. You can do a hyzer off the tee and try to get in position so you can see the gap and see the basket. Or we're probably going to see Garrett do something kind of crazy, which is a huge hyzer to the right and crashing into the trees.
And
Possibly.
really, yeah, no, exactly. And a 3 is a definite good score here. And if you put that tee shot too far right, it's definitely a weird angle to the green.
Paul going force, it looks like.
This is exactly what I chalked it up for him to throw.
It's hard to get super left on this, but Paul does it perfectly.
That's exactly what you want. That makes the gap a lot bigger. And it prevents you from having to throw some sort of trick shot or 2-angle throw like a flex.
Is Garrett going big on this hole?
I don't remember. He's throwing a destroyer, but I think he just wants the 3 here. He's
Okay.
playing good.
That's smart golf right there.
Yeah. And again, the rough here is so brutal that you could get a really tough draw and not even have a chance of getting a 3. So
Garrett just threw the perfect shot.
exactly.
Going sidearm.
And I read a little bit of a headwind here, and I usually throw a mid-range turnover, but the flick with an overstable disc just felt a lot more simple to me. And that was a little bit more right than you'd like on this hole, but still accessible.
Absolutely.
Reid throwing a Nuke OS here.
Boom. Oh.
Well, it looks like he's sawing it off early, but again, it's not
fine.
that bad. It's
Yeah.
actually in the lane to shoot towards the green. And now
Straight
he's going
shot.
with the buzz here.
Good finesse shot down the gap.
Such
my
a good
gosh.
wrist. Reid has such a good wrist with those types of finesse
Hits
shots.
the pole. Let's go.
That's
beautiful.
Flawless. And that is not a easy gap to hit. I'm trying to do something. And that's what happens when you have to go too far to the right.
Is that a comment?
That was actually a Buzz OS.
Okay.
I wanted to hit it Annie and have it flatten as I got to the basket, but
Right.
it's a tight angle and just happened to miss it, unfortunately.
You're having to throw a lot of jump putts this round, Brian.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot from Paul.
Paul going bigsy.
Slow down. There we go. Very nice. Should have a pretty easy putt for birdie.
Garrett going Sonic again. He really trusts this thing, and it's crazy.
Every
It's
time
a-
he throws that disc, I expect him to make it.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
But the amount of work I've seen him put in with that disc is pretty astounding as well.
Oh, man.
That was not even close to a jump putt.
Yep.
Definite frustration. You know, so many circle two putts this round that I was having to make, and
All going 9 for 9.
yeah, watching that made every missed putt feel a little bit worse.
Yeah.
How nonchalantly he's going off and scoring so well.
It's like he's a 4-time world champion or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, extremely impressive.
Garrett with a solid birdie.
And then Reid, after probably the prettiest shot on the hole,
Absolutely.
lacing the gap with a buzz, gets up and down for that birdie as well. So 3 birdies and a par.
Garrett smash. Oh, look at that hug face. Beautiful.
Thank you so much for joining us for this front 9 coverage. Be sure to subscribe to JomezPro, and we will catch you for the back 9.
See you guys later.